Welcome to the Clear to Send podcast, a podcast about wireless engineering, where we educate you on Wi-Fi technology, talk about design tips, troubleshooting, interviews, and the tools. Here are your hosts, Roel and Francois.
Hi everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of the Clear to Send podcast. This is Francois, your host, and I'm here this week with Roel. Hi Roel.
Hey Francois, how are you doing? Good morning from my side and good afternoon from yours.
Yeah, I'm actually in France right now, and it feels like we haven't been together on the show for a long time, huh?
I know there's been a lot of traveling going on, a lot of scheduling conflicts, but somehow when you're the farthest away, we can get together on a recording.
Exactly. No, it feels good. It feels good. Yeah, I'm in France right now, and I have a really good internet connection, so it feels like I'm very close to you.
Yeah, we were talking about this before we recorded. You have a much faster internet connection than I do out here in Silicon Valley. You're on a fiber connection at home.
Yeah, fiber to the home. So they bring the little box into the fiber up until your modem at home, and then they convert it into Ethernet. So it's you get very fast connections, like 1 gig connections.
Wow, and surprisingly, the latency between our call here which we do through Slack is not bad at all. And I'm on wireless too. I'm not even connected to my wired network.
I feel we have less latency that when I'm home in Canada.
Which is closer, so how is that possible? You still got to cross the Atlantic, I guess maybe because you're on fiber, it's just better.
Probably. We'll just say that. All right, so today we're going to talk about what it means to be a CWNE. We did a couple of weeks back, we did an episode when we talked about what it means to be an engineer. And I guess we wanted to follow up a little bit and have Roel's input and talk about, we changed it a little bit, and we're going to focus on what it means to be a CWNE. But before that, we have some news for you guys. The first one is Roel came up with a nice listener survey for the end of the year, just to get your input on how you guys like the podcast, what you liked in 2018, what you would like to see in 2019. So if you guys have 2 minutes to spare, feel free to head over to https cleartosend.net/survey, and you have a few questions. I think it's 10-15 questions, and you can
it should take about 5 minutes to fill out. And part of the reason why we do this listener survey every year, because we want to make sure we're on track, right? We want to as we go throughout the year creating episodes, we want to be sure that we're creating episodes that you want to listen to. And then it also gives us a chance to know who the listeners are, who the new listeners are. We don't collect any information that identifies who you are. So we're not asking for your email address and your name and all that. We just want to know who is listening. And it's questions like, excuse me, how the show's doing, the audio quality, what kind of content you want to hear. So like deep dives, any interviews, and then we'll ask additional types of content. Like, do you want to see a webinar, or do you want to see courses or white papers coming from Clear to Send? So there's a couple more questions on there, but we're just trying to identify who the listeners are, and then how can the information that we collect from the listeners just helps us create better content. So we try to make it better every year, try to add more value. And so if we could just take 5 minutes of your time, go to cleartosend.net/survey, then we could just try to make better content.
Yeah, and then you can also be honest in your feedback. It's an anonymous survey, so you can go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a section there if you wanted to type something out regarding the podcast. You can type whatever you want. Previous times we've seen some interesting stuff.
Yeah, it actually really helped us in the past.
Yeah, it did. It wasn't, bad or anything. It helps us improve it, especially if, maybe the audio quality isn't that good, which we've had previously, and then we try to make it better. But yeah.
I still remember this. We got a feedback from a journalist, and that said that we were not asking the proper questions. So it's good. So I guess we can keep that in mind when we do interviews.
Those types of feedbacks are great to help us ask better questions.
Yeah.
So yeah, things like that. It's good. So we really appreciate the people who do fill out the survey, and I just made it live yesterday, and we already have 6 responses. So that's great. Hopefully we get more. We'll let it run to the end of the year because we know people just don't listen to the latest episodes all the time. But yeah.
And we have another exciting news. So Cisco came out with the IT Blog Awards this year. So that's the first year they're doing this, and they want to recognize independent tech bloggers. And we've been nominated under the best podcast and video series. So this is going to take you even less than a minute. If you would like to vote for us and support us, you can go to clearcitizen.net/vote, and you'll be redirected to the form for the IT Blog Awards hosted by Cisco, and you can go ahead and vote for us if you want to.
Yeah, this is pretty exciting because we're up against some pretty good people in this category as finalists. But with your guys' help, if you want to, I think we're the only audio podcast there. Everyone else is a video series. But if you guys want to help us try to win this award, I think that would be fantastic because we haven't gone up for an award at all. I think this is the first time.
And you might recognize other people you know in other categories.
Yeah, we've got some of our friends on here. We have Jim Palmer. His blog is on there.
Yeah.
We have Amy.
He's under the most educational.
Yeah, he's got some really good content there about RF and wireless. And we have Amy, who's the most entertaining, which I would definitely agree. And then we have Daniel Dibb. I think a lot of you guys, if you're in networking, know who Daniel is. I see him every year at Cisco Live.
He's under the most inspirational category. All right. Okay, and just to another quick news for you guys, we recently updated the list of podcasts you can get access to on your podcast app. So we were limited to the last 50 episodes, and so now you should be able to go back all the way until episode number 1 or 0. Did you have a 0? I think you did.
Yeah, there's a 0.
Yeah,
and I think that was a kind of a popular request, and I don't know why I held back on trying to fix that, but yeah, I increased it. It may take some time because I literally just increased it before we started recording. So if you don't see it, just let me know and I'll try to fix that somehow. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I tested it with my own. I'm using the official Apple podcast app, and I know other people use different ones, but the one I'm using was able to go all the way back to the very first episode.
That's great. I know I get asked the question a lot. Can I go back? Can I go back more? So it's nice. And if you on the website, if you ever want to search for previous episodes, you can go in the archive section, and then you have a search bar, and you can search whatever you want.
Yeah, because we do have show notes for that accompany the episode. So if you did want to look for something, we try to add as much information to the show notes so you don't have to take notes during any episode.
We do it for you. That's what you wanted to say? Yeah.
We try to do all the work.
All right, so let's talk about the main subject of the day, what it means to be a CWNE. So, Roel, I guess I can ask you the question first. What it means to you to be a CWNE?
Yeah, to me, CWNE Well, first, let's define CWNE.
Yeah, sure. That's a good idea.
There's probably a lot of people who don't have a CWNE. So in order to become a CWNE, a certified wireless network expert, it is a certification that comes from the CWNP, and it's a vendor neutral certification. Something I always recommend people to acquire before they get a wireless vendor certification, because it gives you that foundation to really understand how wireless works. And if you're changing a bunch of knobs, you understand what those knobs will do in your wireless network. And so to me, a CWNE means a lot of different things. It doesn't mean that you know everything about wireless. I don't think anyone does. But it does tell people that you have an expert level knowledge of how wireless works. So when it comes to even coming in to work on a vendor wireless network, you understand that what it takes to make wireless work efficiently, how to get the best performance out of it, and how to troubleshoot it accordingly, no matter what vendor equipment you're using. And I think when it comes to vendor-specific wireless equipment, you're more so having to learn where you do certain things, because every vendor has it in different places. So, for example, changing AP channels and transmit power, you just need to know where that's done in the vendor equipment. But does a wireless expert know what that does to the devices when you do change that? So when you put all your APs on the same channel, for example, and they can all hear each other, what does that mean? Or if you lower or increase the transmit power, what does that mean? And Francois, I'll let you take it from here, because I feel like I'm gonna have a coughing fit.
Yeah, no problem. So what you were talking about, I think it's part of the credibility of being a CWNE. I think when you become CWNE, people will rely on you on anything that's Wi-Fi related. So whenever they have a question, they rely on you to provide the good answer, the best answer that suits their scenario. What I wanted to say is, I guess what it means to be a CWNE. I guess it depends from which standpoint you're looking at it from. If you're an engineer that doesn't have a CWNE yet, but you want to become CWNE, I guess CWNE would be like an example, maybe a mentor. Right, and when you just become CWNE could mean something else. It could mean like an achievement, because it's quite an achievement by itself. And then if you've been CWNE for years, maybe CWNE to you, it means being professional in everything you do every day, being a leader, being a thought leader, being a mentor maybe to other people, and being someone that would just challenge maybe the new technology coming out, challenge it, and trying to see if it's efficient, if it could be more efficient, and so on.
Yeah, because it is a journey to get to becoming a CWNE. Because when I was going for the certification, when I applied, there was no requirement from my employer that I needed it. And actually, I didn't really tell anyone that I did get it at work. I think only 2 people know, my manager and the one coworker I work with all the time that does wireless. And for me, that, like you said, Francois, that was more so of a personal achievement for myself. I really wanted to learn wireless, and I wanted to use that knowledge to make better wireless networks. I wanted to learn how to design and troubleshoot and understand how to implement security in wireless networks, because I saw that wireless networks was the main point of connectivity for a lot of people, and it looks like a challenge for many when it comes to deploying technology that's invisible to you. It's easy to set it up, but it also means it's easy to get it wrong, because if you don't understand what you're configuring, or you don't understand that you need to design a wireless network, then to me that was the challenge. And so that's what CWNE meant to me, and also when I work with with other people, it's more of a not everyone knows what a CWNE is, but I can explain it to them, and I think that also lends a kind of an upper hand when people go, oh, I didn't know there was a CWNP program and certification for a wireless expert.
Yeah, and I think, like, you know, when you become CWNE, you're going to see that a lot of people will, you know, like I said, rely on you to answer all the Wi-Fi issues and Wi-Fi problems, Wi-Fi challenges. So it's kind of like you owe it to yourself to always keep up with the new technologies. It's like a continual learning experience. It doesn't stop at CWNE. It's like when you finish high school, you think it's going to be the end of your studies, but it never stops, right? After you have university, and after university, you start your job, and then it's kind of like you keep on learning. And when you become a CWNE, it doesn't change. You have to keep on learning because people are expecting you to know, what Wi-Fi 6 is. Right? And if it's going to be useful for them.
Yeah. Not that you need a CWNE to know what Wi-Fi 6 is, but...
but you know what I mean.
What is it anyways? We haven't even talked about that on a previous episode, but I completely agree. The whole continual learning is a requirement. It's going to be there. And I felt that after I acquired my CWNE, one, there was no change from the time that I didn't have it, and then immediately after I knew I had it, there was no change in me personally. I mean, I went through all the training material, I learned as much as I can, but to me, what that meant was I have a lot more that I need to learn. I have a lot more to understand, right? The new standards that the technology that isn't ratified yet, that means you're going to have to pick that up. And that means reading, that means testing. So I'm continually testing as well. It's not just a theory knowledge of transfer, reading documents and books, but also having to build up a lab and try to actually see how this works. Does it work the way you interpreted it on paper, for example, right? If you have the standard, the 802.11 standard, can you actually cement that into your head by reading it and then understanding how it works after you see it and analyze it? So the learning piece is probably top of mind there for me, where when it comes to being a CWNE, it just means I know how to, I guess, learn more efficiently. I know what I'm looking for, but I just need to validate it.
You know how to read the standards? That's what you're saying? See, so I
wouldn't say that.
I agree with you personally, because you already did the work to become CWNE, right? You already did the work to read the books, do the packet capture, analyze them, do the research, go and find the information, reference the standards. Because you did all this work to become CWNE, you can pick up the good habits and then reuse them when you actually become CWNE to improve, to learn, to do more deep dives, and continue the learning experience when something new comes along.
Let's talk about the whole mentoring thing, because you brought that up briefly, and I think as anyone in this, I feel like the wireless industry, the people that are in this community are very different from other communities, like for example, the security. I'm just going to use security community as an example because I just came from security field day, and there was a discussion about people who are coming into the industry, the security industry. It was an interesting discussion because I feel that the wireless industry is very welcoming, and you have a lot of CWNEs who are open to just helping others consume the wireless content and help learn how wireless works. I mean, I get people who ask me questions either through Twitter or through email, just asking, hey, how do I become CWNA, for example? And so I'm happy to give that kind of information. I want to see more people learn to and become certified and achieve that CWNE certification, because I think we do need more wireless experts. But as a CWNE, I think it's important to be kind of a mentor to people. It doesn't mean you have to officially go, "Hi, I'm your mentor. I'm going to teach you." It's just simply helping others that are following the same path as you and being able to help educate them, right? I mean, it is a two-way street where when it comes to helping others, I don't just give the answer. I like someone to at least try to figure it out, and then come to me and say, "Hey, here's what I tried. Here's what didn't work. Here's what I think the answer is, but I don't know if I'm right or wrong." And I think that kind of conversation, that two-way conversation you have with someone, like that's a way a CWNE can help other people and be a mentor to other people. Do you agree, Francois?
Yeah, I agree with you. And if we try to understand the reason behind that, I think it's, I mean, we can ask all CWNEs, but they probably each had a mentor along the way that helped them to get there. So when you become CWNE, you kind of want to give back to someone else and keep it going. Also, something else, it's the Wi-Fi community is pretty small compared to, let's say, the security community. So when you find someone that has the same passion and same interest as you kind of create this special bond, this special connection. So you're more open to, to mentor them, right?
And you'll also see the same people at all the conferences.
Exactly.
For wireless.
Yeah, exactly. And talking about the people, then you see the older people sharing so much information, mentoring other people. So it's kind of like they're leading by example. So you kind of want to do the same thing. And when you see people like Keith Parson and Devin Icahn that share so much information and spend so much of their time sharing about Wi-Fi and doing some experimentation, sharing all of that data with everyone, it's kind of inspire everyone to do the same.
Yeah, and you could be a mentor indirectly and not really know that you're a mentor, right? Because when I was starting in this industry, the first person I ever looked up to was Keith Parsons, who, by the way, just the day before this recording, opened up the registration to the Wireless LAN Professionals Conference. So we'll include a link in the show notes if they still have, hopefully they still have room.
They sold apparently 100 seats in the first day or something like that.
Yeah. And so I looked up to Keith a lot and his podcast when it came to wireless. I also listened to all of Blake Croney's episodes. Sam Clements is another person that I enjoy hearing from when it comes to wireless. And then once you start communicating with people in this industry, you end up becoming friends with them. You start knowing them on a more personal basis. And that's how small this community is compared to, say, security, because security is very broad. And I'm not saying like you shouldn't go into the security industry. I'm just saying the security industry is big. And then so even to niche down within security, say maybe, like a governance and risk versus, infrastructure security or hacking. Like there's all very small communities within security. And I just think security in general, you're... as a security person, they probably don't want to open up as easily.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. That's just how I feel.
Mindset.
Yeah, I think that's just the mindset, and I think that's why it's a challenge to maybe enter that industry and find people you could or find a mentor. I think it just by default it's a deny statement there with people.
Yeah.
But the wireless in general, it's very open community. I mean, the best thing you could do to find as a CWNE is to just help someone who may be struggling, and then just kind of point them in the right direction. And then you never know, maybe they could be your next podcast host, for example. Right, Francois?
Yeah, or your next boss. You never know.
Yeah, you just never know, and you might even find work that way, right? Through other CWNEs, or maybe there's somebody that that needs help with a project, and maybe if you've recently acquired your CWNE, and how most wireless projects are, they prefer to have a CWNE on board. That could be a way for you to get your yourself out there and to gain more experience. That comes to maybe also the topic of soft skills, right? I think a CWNE should have very strong soft skills when it comes to talking to others, maybe management or other network professionals. You need to have strong soft skills in order to translate the language of wireless to others who don't really understand. Because I always have conversations with people who are not wireless experts, and they say, well, isn't it just easy to do Wi-Fi? You just put APs up and call it a day, right? Sure, if you've got maybe a small office and not that many devices, but when you have to scale that into a service that is mission critical for an enterprise or for a business, or maybe in retail where they need to scale that out to a couple hundred stores, or you have a lecture hall that's high density and the capacity is just crazy because kids are doing all sorts of things on wireless that are pulling so much demand for resources. Just throwing up APs just doesn't work, right? So having the soft skills to explain things to people, to be able to communicate with others effectively, I think is an important skill for a CWNE, which they don't test you on from CWNP.
Well, when you write the essays, they kind of test you on how you can summarize.
They test you on the writing.
Something, yeah.
I think writing is also another important piece for a CWNE. I mean, if you're creating, like Francois, you create a lot of reports, right, from your designs and from your validations. You could use like a template report, but you still need soft skills and writing skills to actually explain what you've collected and what you validated to your customer.
And you can use those soft skills to, you mentioned talking to upper management, but you can also use them to talk to, junior engineers and explain the technical concepts in a way that they can understand them and approach them.
Yeah, because you are going to be a person of, I guess, a certain level within wireless. So you do want to be able to communicate to the best of your ability and make sure things are communicated properly and not misinterpreted, which can be done easily within wireless. What else are we missing here? Oh, troubleshooting. Right? What does it mean to be a CWNE? I think troubleshooting is high up there on that list, because when it comes to a wireless network and you're having issues, usually when it gets to you, it's probably a pretty substantial problem that needs to be resolved, and they need someone of expert knowledge to troubleshoot why a wireless issue is occurring, why people are seeing slow throughput all of a sudden.
Troubleshooting and troubleshooting. I mean, if you want to be able to troubleshoot, you need to know how it works, right? You can do packet capture, but if you don't know, which packet is supposed to be sent at which in which sequence, you're not going to be able to identify what's wrong.
Yeah, and when you get to CWNE, you have a methodology of troubleshooting. You understand what you need to look at first, or what you are looking for. So it just becomes more of a more efficiency in troubleshooting. You see some of the hints that point to where, okay, this could probably be the issue. But like you said, when it comes to a capture, you need to know what you're looking for. Otherwise, you're just looking at a lot of data that probably isn't useful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's harder to filter. If you know what you're looking for, it becomes like almost like a challenge or a game. You know those escape rooms. You have to find a solution to escape the room. It's kind of like the same thing with Wi-Fi troubleshooting. You have to find these solutions, so you fix the issue. So it becomes like you try to find some clues, trying to bring the information together, and then find what's wrong, and then try to fix it.
So you've done an escape room, Francois?
Yeah.
So for security field day, as a group activity after the presentation, on one of the days after the presentations, there's about 12 delegates. They decided to do an escape room. And so that was the first time I've ever done an escape room. It wasn't what I thought, but I guess there are different types of escape room. But yeah, there's a lot of different clues. You have a lot of different people, so you have to work together, right? It's like your wireless team. You're digging, and then you find clues, but you got to piece together those clues in order to figure out the next, I guess, get to the next step, right? So in an escape room, there's a sequence of events that need to happen and certain clues that you need to figure out. But I thought it was very fun, and we got out of there within 30 minutes, which I guess was probably easy.
That's good. That's very good. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'd do that again. Just, I was thinking that there were going to be zombies or something.
No. We should do a Wi-Fi escape room.
Yeah, I think that would be a great event to do with Wi-Fi professionals. Maybe something at
WLPC.
You guys should consider for WLPC. That would be a fun event to do.
Troubleshoot the Wi-Fi issue to escape the room.
Sounds like an exam.
You need to bring your tools and stuff. That could be fun.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm gonna write that down.
But coming back to troubleshooting, I think a big piece of it is confidence, right? Being a CWNE means you have some experience, right? They don't let you be a CWNE if you don't have at least 3 years of experience. So doing those years of studying and working on Wi-Fi, you're going to troubleshoot some issues, you're going to build your confidence, and that's going to help you for future troubleshooting tasks.
Yeah, I think building a confidence is something that definitely takes time to build. And I mean, sometimes I still lack confidence in certain scenarios. It's natural. Yeah. I would say some people have more confidence than others, but being able to display that confidence in a room really cements to them, like, okay, we are dealing with an expert. It really shows. You can tell when somebody has the confidence, and you instill more trust in that you know what you're doing. I wouldn't go so far to fake it, but you definitely want to be able to back that confidence with your the rest of the characteristics of a CWNE.
I mean, when you're an engineer and you have confidence, you need to be able to back it up with technical. You need to have, you need to test your thing and experience. You need to experience it for yourself. So you need to lab it, test it. I've seen it. I know how it works. If you just say, I've seen it in a Cisco forum, that might not be enough to build your confidence, right?
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of people value the experience more than the certification, right? So there are a lot of people that I know are very strong in wireless, but they don't have a CWNE. But with their experience, they have that confidence to troubleshoot and to provide a solution or even a design, right? When you have to justify why 30 APs will work versus 5 APs, because maybe the customer is saying that's too expensive. You have to be confident when you go in there to give them that solution. Say, here's why you need this. But then you need to know why.
Yeah. Well, you still have a lot of people that are very good at what they do, and they don't have the certifications, right?
Yeah, we still run into that. There's at my workplace, I have a lot of coworkers who are incredibly smart when it comes to what they do, but they don't hold any certifications and they don't care to.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a different discussion for another day, is the value of certifications and what it means, because it is a hot topic out there for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But for me, doing the CWNE is really just an investment in myself, an investment in in the knowledge and an investment in giving me that boost of confidence. Like, okay, I was able to understand this material. I know it well because I was able to get this certification. Although it's not the end all, right? It's not, just because I have a CWNE does not mean that I know everything. I still get things wrong, but I know how to correct those. I understand when I have a conversation, say with you, Francois, about a wireless topic, I can understand what you're saying and then maybe change my mind and go, yeah, you know what, you're right. And I wasn't understanding this the way I did. And you were able to explain it better, for example, right? So I think that's what it means to be a CWNE. It's a bunch of other things, right? The professionalism, the troubleshooting, the soft skills, having the confidence, being able to continually learn and lab scenarios, having a super strong understanding of the fundamentals, and then having people rely on you, be a mentor to others in the wireless community. And then it just also builds that credibility, right? That credibility will help in a lot of scenarios. I'm sure it helps for you, Francois, because you're full-time, you work for yourself full-time, and having that CWNE after your name is definitely credibility to your customers, your clients.
Yeah, and even when you teach, like, you need to be able to be relevant, you know.
Yeah, that gives others that are learning from you that confidence. Like, okay, I am learning from someone who understands it versus someone who just teaches it from a book, right? You have the experience behind it, so you've built that credibility.
And also, it's a little bit of a prestige because we know we don't have a lot of CWNEs out there in the world, so it's kind of like a 300 right prestige now as well. Yeah.
And Robert Borgman is the one who's 300, and I wonder if they're gonna come out with any new ones before the end of the year. Maybe starting next year we'll have 301, and you know who that'll be.
I have no idea, but I have a friend in France. He's probably going to become CWNE next year.
Nice.
Which is nice because we only have 3 French now.
So only 3 CWNEs for the French. You're one. Who's the other one?
Jerome Henry, but he doesn't. He's kind of like me. Doesn't live in France. And then and then Cedric Terrier. He lives in France.
Cedric, yeah. Nice. It's becoming more international. I think is the United States the one that has the most right now. There's a CWNE map somewhere. I'll add a link to that. But yeah, being a CWNE, if you're thinking about it, definitely you have to go through all the other certifications, right? Your CWNA, the professional level certifications, and then you have the application process where you have to write your essays and get some endorsements. So when it comes, just want to give a little bit more tips on becoming a CWNE, because we do have an episode about that, which we'll also link in the show notes, where our tips to becoming CWNE. But the path I recommend is CWNA, CWAP, CWDP, and then SP. I think I got them all. And then write 3 essays. The easiest way to approach those essays, 1, you should use something based on your experience, and then 2, you should map them out to the other professional certifications, right? So write an essay on analysis, on design and security. And then when you need an endorsement, you should pick people that can talk to your experience. So you could use your manager or your coworker. You don't have to have someone with a CWNE to endorse you.
Yeah, and for the essays, I always say, I try to answer the question: how did I overcome some challenges I had using the knowledge I've learned during my CWNP journey. It can be any type of challenges: security, design, troubleshooting. But how did I overcome those Wi-Fi challenges using the knowledge I've acquired, reading the CWNP material or working on the exams and so on?
Yeah, it's very similar to writing a blog post. So if you have a blog, which is great because as a CWNE, you could write and explain topics to people. That's a similar approach you can take with your essays. So yeah, as a CWNE, I think you should have a blog too. I think that writing is definitely a big plus to have. It's definitely impacted my career, not just from having a CWNE, but it did help me writing the essays, and then help me get out there in the industry as well.
Yeah, blog is very interesting because it also allows you to, give back to the community a little bit, and they can also assess how you talk about technical, technical material and how you transfer the knowledge.
Yep, that's all I have on what it means to be a CWNE. It means a lot of different things that encompasses CWNE. Do you have anything else to add, Francois?
No, I think it was very interesting to have your input. And if you guys want to add anything, feel free to add a comment to the show notes or shoot us a message on Twitter. Tweet on Twitter at Clear2Send. We'll be happy to read those and continue exchanging on the subject.
Yep. So that's all we have on our episode. Francois, what do you have coming up this week?
I'm teaching the ECAO class in Lyon in France, and then I'm heading back home.
Oh, when are you heading back?
On Friday.
So were you just out there for the class, but then you took a little break before that?
So I actually had two classes, one in Paris and then one in Lyon, and so in between, I just visited my parents in between.
Oh, okay. And how are the riots going on over there? Are they as big as they say they are in the news?
It's cooling down a little bit. It wasn't as big this weekend as it was last weekend, and then they had an attack in one of the French cities this week, so it also cooled everything down. Yeah.
Like a terrorist attack?
Yeah, a terrorist attack. One guy killed 4 people.
Oh, wow. I didn't hear about that. It's interesting because in the United States, they don't really talk about that part that much. And then I see different conversations about it. But that's interesting because I knew you were going there. And when I went to Paris, it was just, I think when I left Paris during the week of Thanksgiving here, that's when they were starting to ramp up for the riots. So yeah, just wanted to make sure you're not in the middle of it all.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. It's not that bad. Right. I know the media show you the worst stuff, but it's not that bad.
Okay, good. All right. Well, that's our show for this week. You can find the show notes over at clear2send.net/151. Let us know what you think in the comments section. Also, if you found this content useful or any other episode useful, if you could please give us a review on iTunes, that would be most appreciated. That's clear2send.net/iTunes. And once again, we have our listener survey available for you if you want to provide any input on the type of episodes you want to hear or any additional content, which you can find at clear2send.net/survey. And then lastly, if you want to vote for us on the IT Blogger Awards, you can do that at clear2send.net/vote. And we would greatly appreciate that as well. It would be cool to win an award on a podcast that we've been working on. That we don't do this full time, so we do this. We try to get together every week, and then if we can't get together every week, one of us will record something, right, Francois? And I will say that we've done an episode every week this year.
We've done one every week?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I believe so, yeah. I was counting the episodes, and then we only have a couple weeks left for this year, but we've done pretty good.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So we want to thank you guys for listening. Thank you for the support and the feedback you have given to us, and we will see you on the next episode.
See you guys. Bye-bye.